Welcome to this Thursday Inspiration with Siba, an hour of sharing best practices and tips for surviving, maybe even thriving during this challenging time. This week, Angela Trigg, owner of the Haunted Bookshop in Mobile, Alabama, will talk about ManyChat, a popular messenger bot that automates messaging and tasks on Facebook Messenger. Here's a fascinating fact about Angela you may not know. Besides owning a bookstore, Angela is a romance author, writing under the pen name Angela Quarles. She is a RWA Rita Award-winning and USA Today best-selling author of contemporary time travel and steampunk romance. We're going to keep you muted while Angela's presenting, so please go ahead and ask your questions in the chat. Once she's done presenting, we'll unmute you so you can ask questions directly, so it's more of a conversation. Okay, over to you, Angela.
Okay, great. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So the title of this is Taming the Chaos with a Bot. Well, at least one aspect of it. So here is, we're going to start off with a PowerPoint presentation. Let me know if you see a green screen. It says Taming the Chaos. You see that?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
All right. So I know that as bookstore owners, oftentimes we feel like that little poor emoji in the middle there. Back in the day, of course, when we got in special orders, requests for books, we had in-person and then phone calls. And that was, of course, way before my time, but there are some stores that have been open long enough that that was the two main channels that you got had customers request books. And then we added email, and then, of course, a website. And so those four channels alone are 4 different ways that we were getting book requests. And so those were cumbersome enough to try to handle. But now in today's world, we also have 4 more different ways, and possibly even more than that. But for me, these were to a greater and lesser extent, these are the other 4 ways that I've been getting book requests. Facebook and Instagram being the 2 biggest ones, and then to a lesser degree, text messages. I very rarely get a Twitter request for a book, but each store is different, so it could be that you're juggling all 4 of these. And so the challenge is you have at least 8 different ways that someone is asking for a book. And sometimes this in person, I might be just walking down the street and someone sees me and says, "Hey, can you order, this book?" So it can get difficult to try to remember and handle all the different ways that this can come to you. So one of the ways that is only typically automated is by a website. That's usually the only one that we have automated, with a form typically on our website that will capture the users or the customers' book request, and then that shoots us generally an email or something like that. So that's usually the only one that we have automated. Some others have an in-store point of sale system that can help with automation on that. Whoops, there we go. So one way that I help to try to alleviate my poor little sad emoji, and so he's a little bit maybe not as bad looking, was to add Trello working with Zendesk. So I had my website orders funneling into Trello, and I'd make a card, a special order card for each one. And so then those were automated, but then all my in-person, phone call, and text message, Facebook, all those were also done making a card by hand and putting it in Trello. So that helped a lot, because then I had one central spot where every single type of request was all funneled into one placeholder, which was Trello. That helped a lot. But it still needed to have some way of getting it automated. And that leads me to ManyChat. And ManyChat.com is a bot that will help automate some of your Facebook requests. So now I can have my Facebook interacting with ManyChat and automatically creating a card in Trello, as well as my website orders going into Trello. So that made me a little bit happier. because now I was having those types of requests taken even sometimes in the middle of the night, and I'd wake up and I'd have a special order card waiting in Trello from Facebook, instead of me waking up in the morning, getting into work, and then seeing the customer asking for a book, and then having to ask further questions, because usually they don't give all the information you need, and then you have to wait for them to get back online and answer it back, and and then you have to hand add that book once you get all the data. So that helped a bunch. And so I will now switch to actually showing you, and let's see, I think I can do new share and switch to another screen. Hold on one second. Which screen was it? Sorry. I am forgetting where I am. Okay. Shoot, that is not the right screen. Okay, there we go. I had this all set up, sorry. There we go. Okay. So ManyChat, as I said, is a messenger bot that will show you, have a way for you to have your Facebook messages get automated. So one of the entry points for that is my website. So I'm going to show you my website. For some reason, it's taking a while to load. So here's my website, thehauntedbookshopmobile.com, which you can go to right now if you want to. And in the lower right-hand corner, once it finally finishes loading.
We're still seeing Zoom.
Oh. Okay, let's see. Okay, do you see my website now?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so let me, it's still loading for some reason. I've noticed that browsing on here is a little slower. There we go. Okay, so you can see in the lower right-hand corner, I have it pop up saying, this is my Facebook a little messenger bot that shows up in the bottom here. And ManyChat, see the code that you can add to your website, the little snippet of code that you can put in. And so if someone clicks on that, they can start initiating a conversation with our store. You can also see a little menu here. So they can see about us, contact us, shop online, browse by appointment, and that kind of thing. But when they first initiate a conversation with my store, I have this cute little messenger bot that comes up and says, a little ghost that says, welcome, I'm the Haunt bot at the Haunted Bookshop. I'm here to help you with common questions and or direct you to one of our staff Haunts to help you. And then gives them 3 options. What do you need help with today? And then I put in a COVID announcement too, that please be aware, blah, 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 and then book an appointment or order a book. So these are automatically sent when someone initiates a conversation with my store through the bot. So what I'm going to show you today is what happens when someone clicks on order a book. So we're going to switch to, I think sometimes it's easier to see the end result first, and then I'll show you how that it was made. I'm going to jump to a Facebook message that happened recently with a customer ordered using this. And so I'm going to show you the actual conversation and how the bot answered everything. Because I know you've probably seen in Facebook pages where you can add some canned replies. And those are handy where if you just wanted to have a reply, common questions, but then it doesn't actually keep going after that. So it can only give a reply and then that's it. It can't then ask another question based on a response and send them elsewhere and have a bunch of branching trees. So that's the difference between the automated replies that Facebook has set up and then what you can have with ManyChat. So here, here's a conversation with Christine. Let me scroll up to the beginning of the conversation. So she, let me keep going, come on. All right, so she here's where it said, "Hey, welcome, here's that welcome message, order a book," and then that please be aware COVID message that I was showing you happens whenever someone clicks into the Facebook Messenger little box. And so she clicked on order a book. So then my bot answered back, "Fantastic. First of all, thank you for choosing to support your bookstore, purchasing through us. Buying from us is an investment in your look." So you can have it say whatever you want, but it's much more conversational than a generic form that asks these dry questions and they fill out the little boxes. So the first thing I wanted to ask was, did they check my website to make sure I had it or not? Because sometimes they don't know that I have all my books online. So I asked that first, and she said yes. So then my bot answered back, "Okay, sorry, we didn't have it." And then it says, "Okay, so first step is, do you want new or used?" And so then she picked order new. So then because of how she answered that, I had a specific, this is tailored specifically to someone that answers new. So I say, okay, well, we have several options here. And one of the first things I wanted to have it was branch off if she was going to be wanting it shipped. And I probably will change this after the whole COVID thing is over with. But right now, to kind of alleviate some of the workload off myself, I wanted to go ahead and branch off anybody who was wanting it shipped and just send them to Bookshop. And so that was one way of having the bot automate some of the work for me. And so if they answered that they were going to have it shipped, the bot would have answered back that here, okay, we'll go to our Bookshop page here, blah, blah, blah. Well, she didn't answer that. She picked delivery. So my bot answered, "No problem." And then I gave an option too, because sometimes people don't like this bot, or if, I wasn't sure. I haven't had anybody say they didn't like it. I just was paranoid. But then also sometimes I worried that they might get caught in a loop or it wasn't actually answering questions the way they wanted. So I gave them a link to the form. So I just said, okay, if anytime you get annoyed with me, scroll back up here and click on this link. And then I have kind of played around with it. It's okay, and cracks ghostly knuckles and says, "Okay, first, what's the name of your book?" And then they answered Raising White Kids. And then the bot answered, "Thanks. Okay, who's the author?" And she answered Jennifer Harvey. And then what kind of condition? And here, this was great because it allowed me to give a little bit more description than I was normally able to do in my forms, and an explanation of set expectations of when we'll, how we'll look for it and how the process works. How many do you want? Do you want hardback or paperback? So you can see she's just answering all the way down the line here. Would you like it picked up, mailed, or have it delivered? Porch delivery. Fantastic. Just type in the street address and then boom. Okay, you're all set. I've set this request to my overlords. Since you're ordering a new copy, so this is different. If they had used, it would have said something different. But again, because they picked new earlier, it's just setting up expectations about how the price is going to work and what happens when it arrives. And then she answered, "Thanks." Since then, I've actually changed, because when someone says thanks, I now have it say, "You're welcome, thank you." But I hadn't thought about that as a reply when it's someone put in thanks. And so the poor bot just answered right back again saying, "Hi, Christine." Someone usually replies within 24 hours. So, you have to kind of play around with it and think of some things that people would say in response. So that is how this particular order got taken. And what happened is after she finished, like right when this happened, and this last thing got sent right before she sent thanks, it created a card over here, and I'll find it for you so I can show it to you. It took all of her answers and created a card in Trello. And so here is the card. So it went ahead and filled out their name, the condition, format, everything that the bot had asked. It all got filled in here. And then some of this, of course, got filled in later. Like I then had to, added in the price and when I thought it would get in. So that's the kind of data that gets pulled. I have it also integrated with Zendesk, so it'll send automated replies to the customer based on that. So that's the Trello card that gets created from Facebook message. So how does this magic happen? So I'm going to switch now over to ManyChat and show you that flow. And first I'm going to show you a little bit about the overall program itself. So we'll go into ManyChat here as soon as it loads.
While it's loading, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Does this operate off of keywords? And what happens if the customer types in more than just a response to the bot's options?
Oh, I had that happen one time where I don't know why this person he kept answering the question one later. So so at the end of it all, I had like the author in the wrong field and all that kind of stuff, but I still had all the data. So I just fixed it. But it sometimes happens, and you try to tweak it a little bit to see how people are using it and adjust it a little bit. So that's the only time someone was answering it wrong. They kept putting, I think when they asked what the title was, they said the title and the author, and it kind of messed everything up. I still got all the data and was able to work with it. So yeah, it's operated off of keywords. So so here is remember when I showed you in the right-hand corner of the website, I showed you the bot, how it pops up in the corner here and then has a menu. And this is the menu that gets set up. As you can see, there's not that many clicks up in there. I don't think many people know they can click on that little hamburger and see a menu. It's just not something that is typically available, so people don't know to look for it. But if someone does know about it or somehow clicks through and sees the menu, they can get a little message about us or how to contact us, or a link to our website, and or a link to our Browse by Appointment website that we have set up. That's how the menu was set up in that lower right-hand corner. And then the default reply that you saw, I'll show that real quick. So, oh, this is weird. There we go. Normally it goes right to this screen. Wow, this is slow. Come on. Anyway, this is the default reply where it shows someone usually responds within 24 hours. I don't need to wait for it to show that. The welcome message is the one that shows where it says welcome, and then you program it to use first name if you want to. And then here's the those different choices. So this is what I showed you before, that when you first click into the bot. And then you can see what happens depending on which one they click. So order a book starts the book order tree flow. So they're all called, it's called flows. And then get directions starts the directions and parking flow. Contact us starts the contact tree flow. And then down here, book appointment just goes to the book appointment link. And then order a book again starts the book order tree flow. So that's how those flows get started. Before I go into those flows, I'm gonna show you the keywords so you can kind of see how there's different ways of approaching that. So the one example I showed you was where someone clicked on the link that said order a book. I've also had people type in a message to me that says, hey, I'd like to order a book, or how do I go about ordering a book? And so I have the bot set up to trigger on the message. If they find a word order or ordering in the message, it will trigger a particular action. It will start that whole tree. I've since added pre-order and these two words here also to trigger a different flow, because earlier I had it just set up as a message contains order, without the whole word. And so when someone put in pre-order, it also triggered this, which is not what I wanted. So I switched this to contains whole word order or ordering, and then created a different flow that happens if someone types in the whole word pre-order, spelled 2 different ways. But you can see there's some other triggers I have here. I added this recently because someone did message me saying, hey, how do I set up an appointment? And I was like, oh, it would be easily something the bot could answer while I'm not around. So I triggered a flow for appointment. Here's where I added the thank you message. So if someone says thank you at the end of any of these flows, it'll answer back. If someone types in where are you located or what's your address, triggers that directions parking flow. Same with store hours. If it says store hours or your hours or are you open to the public, it gives a specific message for that, and on and on. So you can see that there's some different keywords that you can set up that are anything that would be common questions that you could have the bot answer. So we're going to go ahead now and jump into the flows. So let's scroll here to keyword order message, and we'll see that this is what happens when someone says, hey, I'd like to order a book. And so this is what this happens if someone types in the word order or ordering. And so it says, hi, did I detect that you want to order a book? Click yes or no, depending on that. I don't know, maybe there's some combination of words or sentence that they would be asking with the word order that is not something where they want to order a book. I can't think of one, but just in case, I better make sure that that's what they're asking for. If they click yes, I have it go to the book order flow. If they click no, I say, so actually 3 people did say no, so I don't know what they were asking for. I'll have to look back through. I'm sorry, I misunderstood. Being a ghost, there's not much between my ears. I'll pass this on to one of my staff, and then it marks the conversation is open so that we know that we still need to answer that customer's questions. So if they click on yes, it opens this flow. And let's go ahead and show you. I'm going to click on edit so I can actually get into the meat of it here. Okay, so some of this will look familiar because you've seen the bot actually say, fantastic. First of all, thank you, blah, blah, blah. That is done here by setting up these messages and then giving it options. So remember they said that they had clicked on yes, and so it sent this message that we saw in that flow. Well, if they'd answered no, it would have sent this message that just says, most of our stock is browsable online, so the best option is to start there to see if we have it. And then it has this button that says shop online, which when you can set up to go anywhere you want. So I have this action associated with it where it says when this button is pressed, open a website, and then you type in or paste in the website address you want it to go to. So that's what happens if they had clicked on no. Oops. And then we did see though that that person had clicked on yes, and they had clicked on new, but if they had clicked on used, it would have done this flow instead. It would have got, or this message. It would have said, okay, to make sure you're in our workflow for promptness and to reduce error, we have some questions for you. After you finish, we'll contact you with a price. At that point, you can tell us whether we should get it or not in case it's too much. Because I don't automatically order used books when someone, in your process might be different. You would want to set up things differently for your store. But anyway, both of them go the same flow. I just have different messages that are sent. So remember earlier I had said that they could have, I wanted things go to Bookshop if they wanted it shipped. So ship it please. I have it going when this button is pressed to go to my bookshop.org affiliate link. So that funnels off anybody that's doing that. But if they pick up delivery, it opens this order via Facebook flow that I have set up. So we'll go into there. Okay, it's moving a little faster, which is good. Okay, so when they go in here now, you'll see that a lot of this was, remember when I had it say go to form instead, if they wanted to. Again, that just goes to that website address that I have. And then when you set up these questions, how it gets captured so that it, oops, did not want to click on that one. So that it captures the answers is you, here we go. Okay, so thanks. Okay, who's the author? So it has a free keyboard input. And so you click on there, you would say, reply type is text, save response to a custom field. And so I have custom fields associated with each user for title, author, condition, all the data that I need to collect and send to Trello. I have a special fields that I set up for each customer. Obviously, the next time they order, that'll get overwritten, but that's okay because I only need it as temporary storage in order to shoot that data over to Trello. So I have all these fields set up, and I'll show you that in a minute where that is. But each time they reply with one of the answers, it goes into, why I keep trying to click on this one and it just doesn't want to show that one. Anyway, you get the picture. So here, what kind of condition determines price? This one we only saw her answer, and I know I had asked used and new earlier, but I wanted to ask it again just in case. And so I have new, used, very good, used good for blah, blah, blah. And so I used what are called quick replies for these because the buttons up above, you can only have 3 of these at a time. So instead, for if you have more than 3 answers you want, canned answers you want, do quick replies. So you just keep typing in another quick reply by clicking on here. So let's say you had another kind, you could just type it in here. But I don't have another one. But anyway, so I typed in used, very good, used, good, fair, poor, and then kind of gave descriptions. And then again, free keyboard input. I have all that being saved to book condition. And so depending on what they answered, it gets saved into book condition. How many you want, again, that gets saved into the quantity field. And oh, this was pretty cool. I had a customer reply with letters, like I think they spelled out the number. And because I had the reply type as number, the bot answered back and said, please enter it as a number. So it can also verify the input to make sure it's what you want. Hardback, paperback as the format. And again, just in case they change their mind, I have it. I included shipping in here, curbside, porch delivery as a reply. And so let's see what happens when all gets done. They've answered, storing all these answers, boom, 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 storing them all. And then I have a condition set up here where it says, okay, if the word contains shipped, then do this. If it contains delivery, do this. If not, do this. So shipped, I have, I'm just going ahead and assuming now that it's something that I need to ship and not sending it to Bookshop. So I say, okay, we just need your address, city, state, and zip. And so then I'll fulfill the order instead of having Bookshop do it. If you pick delivery, I have the bot say, fantastic, just type in your street address. And that's what we saw in that example was the person typing in, the bot saying fantastic, and then her typing in her street address. If it said pick up curbside, it would just go to the same response that the other two would also go to. Okay, you're all set. I've set this request to my overlords. And then the next thing it does is I wanted to vary the rest of the answers that the bot gives depending on certain conditions. So I have a filter saying, okay, what was the book condition? If the book condition was used, say this answer, have them say, because you wanted it used, the process will be a little involved, blah, 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 and gives my sort of spiel about that. If they answered new, then I say, since you're ordering a new copy, the price will be the publisher's suggested retail price, and we'll go ahead and order it. So I'm setting up expectations and also letting them know that for used, I don't know the price. Here, I obviously, the bot can't look up the price, so I just say it's going to be the regular retail price. Both of them can have the same response right after that, which is, once the book arrives, we'll invoice you for the total amount, which is book cost plus sales tax plus shipping if applicable. And then once the invoice is paid, we'll get the book to you based on your chosen method. So once the bot is done shooting that message, it then tags that customer as a special order customer and then triggers Zapier, which is an app that communicates with other apps. So Zapier, I created a Zap, which is what that's called, that initiates the interaction between ManyChat and Trello. So it takes all the data that we got from that customer and creates that special order card. So that's how I got the two to talk to each other, was to use Zapier to communicate between the two. So let's go to settings, and I'll show you the custom fields. So here's the custom fields I set up for, you just go click new user field to add your fields. And so here's what I have them all set up. So how many do you want? Set it to a number. What do I have? I must have decided to use this instead of saying quantity because that's just so boring sounding and doesn't sound very conversational. So I changed it to that. I don't know why I had it. Anyway, I just need to clean that up. So that's where you would add your user fields that you want to have your bot place temporary data in. And so let's go to audience and find Christine. And I'll show you all of her answers in there. There's Christine, who had ordered Raising White Kids. And so you can see that all those custom fields, that the data's still in there, but will get replaced the next time that she orders. And of course, since it interacts with Facebook, it automatically pulled in her Facebook photo and some other data that's associated with her. And you can see that it opted in through the website chat, and she got tagged as a special order customer. This can all get handy because at some point you can, if you want to, send messages to everybody who has communicated with you in the last 24 hours. Now, it used to be that ManyChat allowed you to send broadcast messages, meaning that someone could be, you know, that all of a sudden someone could get a message from you on Facebook, and it would be the same message that you send to everybody in your contact list here. And it was pretty powerful. I used it a lot when I was an author, but I was very careful to not abuse it. But of course, there were people who abused it. And so Facebook has made restrictions on it where you can't send broadcasts to people if they haven't messaging you in the last 24 hours. So they choked that down to just 24 hours, which for most of us means we're really not going to have a lot of people to send podcast messages to. I mean, I don't know about you, but that would probably only mean maybe 4 to 5 people might get a broadcast. And it's just not worth it for me to send out a broadcast. But that would be something where you could send a message that says, hey, we have new releases out, or anybody looking for White Fragility, I just got in a bunch of copies, or, you know, something like that. ManyChat, as a way to try to make themselves still useful in that particular arm of what they were doing, have added email and SMS to this. So you could theoretically have people opt in with their email address or their phone number. And so you could send a broadcast, and if the person hasn't been in contact with you via Facebook Messenger in the last 24 hours, and you have either an email or a phone number for them, it will then instead send an email or a text message to them with that same thing. So that's pretty neat. I just haven't experimented around with that yet. I'm still opting in people because I just started using this last month. And so I don't want to just import everybody in my list because they haven't given me permission to contact them over text messaging that way. So I'm slowly building up my my opt-ins for text messaging. And so that could be something I could use and put in my toolbox later on, that I could send out podcasts, SMS broadcasts to these people. So let's see, what else did I want to show you? 12:42. I'm going to show you a few more things, and then we'll go to, do we have any questions waiting in the wings?
We don't, unless Nikki, you want to ask a question. And Robin and Kibi, feel free to unmute yourself if you wanted to jump in with a question. It looks like right now you could continue on.
Okay. All right. So other things that it does is it has growth tools, and actually I should go here to show you the growth tools. So growth tools are ways to try to grow your list, and I haven't really delved into this too much, but as you can see, the main tool that I'm getting traction on is the website chat, which is that lower right hand thing that shows up on my website. So that's the main avenue I have people coming in. I don't know why that says draft. That shouldn't say draft. But this is a QR code option that I've created. I created a little poster that hangs in my reader's lounge now that shows the little bot ghost and says, scan me, scan the QR code. Obviously, since I'm not really open, I'm not getting anybody scanning that yet, but theoretically, when we get back to being regular hours with regular amounts of people coming in, what that QR code will do is that you can scan that QR code, and the little bot introduces himself and says, hi, thanks for visiting the store. I'm here to help you with anything. Our Wi-Fi password is this. And then I can't remember what else he says, but anyway, it's specific to someone who's actually in the store, and the bot introduces himself and gives them handy stuff that they might need to know while they're in the store. And then hopefully gets their opt-in for email and text. So that's there and waiting for when we start getting more active. I could also have the Facebook comments would be something that could be really handy for some stores. I don't do this too often, but what Facebook comments are is that you could have ManyChat set up to have the bot reply automatically to comments on a specific post. So you wouldn't want it to just automatically reply to any comment on any post, because each post should be individual. So ManyChat restricts it to just per post. So you would, where that could come in handy would be if you've set up a contest or some other kind of post where you are asking for specific responses, and then you could have the bot answer back depending on their replies. So that is another growth tool that you could use for with ManyChat and Facebook, which may be down when we're back open. I might experiment more around with that, but that's what that is. But there's lots of different growth tools you could do. Let's see if, so start new growth tool. Let me show you what other options there are. So you could have an overlay widget on your website that's at the top. You can have it slide in. This is the one I use, which is the, oh no, that's not the one I'm using. I am using, no, I don't remember, customer chat. And there's the QR code growth tool. You could have a landing page. You could have a URL that you give to people to interact with your bot. You could do ads. You could have a button on your site. All sorts of stuff. Those are different ways you can try to get people to interact with your Facebook bot and do it that way. And here's the live chat screen. I don't really use this too much, and I only have myself added to ManyChat because it costs money if I have more people added to this. So I just have my staff answering on Facebook instead of here. But if you wanted to, you could have all your employees added to ManyChat, and then you can assign different chat threads to different. So like you could have a flow where at the end of it, if it's a flow about a specific thing that a particular employee of yours would be answering or need to answer, you could have it in say open up a live chat with, and then you just tell it to open up with, Alex or Stephanie or whoever. So you can, that can be pretty powerful if you have a large staff and be handy. I don't use it. Anyway, that's there if you need it. Broadcasting is where we do the broadcasts and automation. Let me see if there's anything else in there that I didn't show you. I haven't really gotten into much on sequences and rules. Those are just other, I don't really know about those. I mean, there's rules you could set up for it to do stuff, and I just haven't played around with that too much, but that's about it. So anybody have any questions?
I was curious how long it took to set up the responses to if a customer is interested and makes contact and they go through all the different potential flows.
Yeah, I think I did that in one afternoon. I didn't time myself, but I don't remember it taking days or anything. I think it was just like one day that I had it set up, and then what was really neat was that the next morning, and I didn't announce it or anything, the next morning I had a card waiting for me in Trello, and I was like, whoa, it's working. Mm-hmm. I don't have people using it every day, but it is there to capture those. Unfortunately, it won't capture Instagram keywords or, so you can't automate, it can only automate the messages you're getting from Facebook. So, and I don't know if everybody knows you can have your Instagram channeled into your Facebook page messages. Does everybody know about that? Mm-hmm. Like, so that you can check it in one spot and not have to go to Instagram as well to check your messages there. That makes things so much simpler, having them both funneled into Facebook. Just that the only problem is ManyChat only checks the Facebook arm of that. It doesn't check Instagram. So you still have to handle your Instagram, but hey, at least Facebook is taken care of.
Is that something that you do in the settings for Instagram to funnel it into Facebook?
Actually, I think it's on the Facebook end. So let me go into Facebook. So here you can see all messages. These are all both Instagram. Like I know that's an Instagram because that's a story that's same with this. So some of these are Instagram, but you can, if you want to just see Facebook, you can click on Messenger and then Instagram. But I think it's here. I set it up so long ago, I don't remember now anymore how that got set up, but somewhere in here is where you would say to also integrate Instagram in here, and that saves so much time because Instagram is mobile, and typing out replies on your phone is a lot more time consuming, and it's just one more device to have to check. So it's nice that it's both of them are funneled into here, and so my staff can just check here for both Instagram. In fact, I don't even know if Alex realizes that this is also Instagram. I think he thinks this is all Facebook, but it's just it definitely is handier having this all funneled in here. So yeah. Anybody else have any other questions or anything they wanted me to go over again?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself changing how you do things in order to accommodate being able to run them through this little workflow that you're setting up on? I mean, do you find that you've simplified some of your processes in order to accommodate the bot system?
Yeah, I'm not sure I know what you're asking, but I think I do. So in other words, has this forced me to simplify things in other areas?
Yeah, or does it highlight places in your work where you realize you're overly complicated, or you don't need to be as complicated as you have been? I mean, has this sort of helped you to reassess your normal processes, workflow processes?
That's a good question. Let me think. I think one area where it helped maybe was kind of funnel off people who were wanting to have it shipped so that I wasn't getting orders for things that needed to get shipped. But I don't know that it really made me change anything other than because I already was using Trello. I was already using Trello for my special orders, and we were entering in those cards by hand. And so it didn't affect it that way. It was more of I was tired of having to keep hand entering these cards, even though it was great because I was going crazy by, I had sticky notes and, I had a spreadsheet because all my website replies used to just go into a Google Sheet. I would back my orders through, and I would, it was cumbersome because, I'd have to remember to go into the sheet, and then that only handled the website orders. So if someone ordered it, by just walking in or on the phone, I would write it on a sticky, and then I'd have to keep my sticky somewhere. And so it was actually Trello that helped streamline a lot of that into where I had everything had to become a card. So that really simplified a lot of things. And then we had to just hand enter them all in. And so then having the bot helped automate one arm of it where we didn't have to hand enter in the title and author and all that kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
Those. I don't know if that's really answering your question. I guess
no, it sort of does. I always find myself wondering when you adopt one of these new applications, like how much of it is, well, we were talking about before, how much of it is you changing yourself to accommodate it, and how much of it is taking it and integrating it into your what already works for you, so I'm just curious.
Yeah, so in my case it just helped automate an arm that I was already had in place. So it made one aspect of that less cumbersome.
Were there any major problems that you stumbled into working with this?
It was more of just learning learning about what a flow was as opposed to a sequence and all those other things, and trying to figure out which one I needed to do to get all this kick started. But then once I realized there's a flow that I needed to create, that's when the ball started rolling. And they have some really great little how-to videos, so I definitely recommend watching their YouTube channel. Their videos on how to do some of these things. They're really short and easy. And so I watched those and did a quick training on it. And then, so it was more of just figuring out what I needed to do. I mean, I knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't know how.
Sure.
ManyChat. So once I figured out that it was a flow, I could then do that. The interface is real easy. It's just, going in and so let me go back in. I'll show this one here, which is directions parking. So if you wanted to have, let's say I was in here and wanted to add one more button, you just click on little button here, and then you type in your name. The title of the button you want it to be here. So let's say I wanted to not only open a Google Maps and then where to park. Let's say the third one is, I don't know, where to go for curbside parking, maybe. I don't know. I'm going to probably read this in a second. So let's say I was like, oh, you know what? I should add that. So then you would say, okay, the button title is this. And then you just follow the prompt. So it says, when this button is pressed, what do you want it to do? I want it to send a message or open a website, call a number, do a buy button. I don't have my stock in here, but perform an action, start another flow, do a condition. So you could say, okay, if it's this or that, do something else. I don't know why you'd want to use a randomizer, but that's there. You could have send a text message, send an email, or do an existing step. So you just kind of follow the prompts. So once you kind of realize that it's the flow that you want to get into, then you just sort of click around, and I like that they're really big, and for me, it seems like it's pretty, nicely laid out. And then one thing I've been adding for some of these is just doing little emojis. So you just go click on the little smiley face here, and then just choose whichever emoji you want to do. So you could just pick something there. Give it a little bit more visual. And so then whenever you pick whichever you want it to do, so like none of mine have call a number, so we could have it say curbside, call number, and then you put in your phone number. So I could have something like that. One actually might not be a bad idea. It says curbside, and then call this number when you're pulling up or something like that. And then
right.
So there's a lot of fun different options that you can just, once you start playing around with it, your mind starts going and go, oh wow, I could have it do this and this. But when I first set this up, using it for the ordering process, I set it up to have it do, I was going to have it just send it to the form for order. I had all the initial stuff set up. And then I think I went home that night and I was like, I wonder if it'll collect data and I could have it create the card. And so then I came in all excited and was like, okay, how do I get that figured out? And then I figured out how to do the custom fields and have it, use Zapier to port it over. That was pretty exciting. So, it was just me playing around in here.
Yeah, that is cool. And it seems that you're responding that we've been learning that people are they have these new behaviors of how they're going to be purchasing things. So all of your adaptations might be these, you're kind of ahead of the curve on how customers are going to want to communicate with stores.
Yes.
And have as much in a friendly way automated so you can focus on different parts of your business.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people will get frustrated by the fact that people are messaging them on Facebook and they try to train them to not do that. But I kind of hated to do that because, if that's the way they're communicating with me, I didn't want to risk losing their custom by saying, well, I don't want to take your order this way. Call the store or go to my website. So I wanted to make sure I was always getting their order from whatever was their preferred method. It's just that it was adding a lot of work, and with ADHD, kind of like it was just too many different ways it was all hitting at me, and I was losing track of some of the stuff. So this helps all that, and allows people to still communicate with me the way they want to, instead of forcing them to pick up, go to their website, go to their laptop, because most people are on their phones, and so, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for pulling this together today. And
you're welcome.
It was really great. Always inspiring to see you present. Inspiring and intimidating.